Hello, friends, and welcome back to another edition of Money in Motion.
Yep, that's the name of the show. Nailed it.
Nailed it, yeah. Thanks for your patience this morning. Friday, getting going a couple minutes behind here. But regardless, title of our show today is Bitcoin ETF Hype Overbought. I think the market has already answered that question within like the last 12 hours. But yeah, Monte. What's going on? Anything you looking at to start the day? I mean, things were pretty strong to start the day. Now we're pulling back a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag today. Like you said, started off the day strong. I'll pull up the Bitcoin chart real quick here. Because like you said, started the day looking decent, looking like we may have gotten what we were asking for yesterday in the sense that we were getting a bullish candle at the bottom of this downtrend. But as you can see now, as the NASDAQ and S&P kind of roll over, switch to a 15-minute view here so you can see exactly the extent of, the bearish price action that we saw. It's coming back up now a little bit. But nonetheless, that was enough to drive Bitcoin down. And it looks like it may continue that direction because the relationship with the NASDAQ seems to have broken. So it's weird how it, on the market open, the relationship between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ is so strong. If the NASDAQ is looking like it's going to open green, Bitcoin will show some signs of positive price action and vice versa. But then once the day gets going, it really doesn't matter. Bitcoin looks in a very precarious situation right now. I wouldn't be touching it here. Just be patient. I mean, we've basically round tripped completely. So like CJ said, I think the title is answered by this chart, and has been answered with this negative price action. So that's really all I got for Bitcoin. But one thing I do want to quickly bring to everyone's attention, because it is moving pretty quick, is one of my favorite stocks. If you've been following CJ and I for a while, you know that one stock that I particularly like is Roblox, and this one's moving, outperforming the market today, looking really good. And from a daily perspective, this thing got beat up pretty bad after this earnings report, and it essentially drove it down to the lows that we hit back in December of 2022. And since then, we've basically been in kind of up only price action mode. And I think that like a lot of traders are eyeing this gap. Roblox is, if you look at the numbers, and I know that these numbers were bad, their earnings and revenue, but that is typical for the summer. That's typical for the summer lull.
Summer camp.
Yeah. Kids go to summer camp and do things outside and aren't playing the game. But now they're coming back. It's getting chilly in some parts of the United States, including here in Chicago and elsewhere. And people are spending more time on the computer. And I think that's good for Roblox stock. Massive gap there to the upside, up to like 36.50. I think it fills that gap quicker than a lot of people will expect. So that's one trade that I really like. I haven't taken it yet. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. Just gonna buy some spot. I think that's the best way to approach Roblox where it's at. You have clearly defined risk at $26. Anything below that, get out of it, because that would be kind of the reverse price like discovery. We'd be entering 52-week lows, and I don't want to be trading anything that's nearing 52-week lows. But that being said, Roblox looking very strong, and I hope it fills this gap. So looking right now, it's trading at about 29 30, 29, 28. But I do think that by the end of next week, we could plausibly see it into the $30 range, the upper 30s, like 36 to 38. So not necessarily a cryptocurrency, but a stock that I have my eye on nonetheless. And I actually will likely be putting in an order after the show or when I have some time while CJ's talking, perhaps.
Well, there should be plenty of that. Maybe not today. Usually, though. Oh, man. What a week.
Yeah, it's been TGIF, everyone. TGIF. You guys in the chat are staying at best. I mean, this week has just been full of catalysts and curveballs, and that's tough to trade, you know. But what are you seeing here, CJ?
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of a mixed bag right here. I mean, I do understand the fact that stocks only really go up, but I also am kind of concerned that I just don't know if there's a lot of buyers up here. We'll see. But like one thing that I have been looking at quite closely, just with like ES and Nasdaq, has just been like various times where we've kind of, I guess here we've can kind of go on and continue. But in the short term, I don't know. There's just one of the biggest fades that came out yesterday who has been bearish all year and short Tesla and Nvidia. And it's like, I don't see what can bring this market down and how it's not going to go higher. There, I said it, people. And it's just like, when I hear that, it's like, obviously there are periods, we said it yesterday, and Monte made a good point earlier in the week when he's like, when is the retail trader going to be right? You know, there are periods of time when the best fades are incorrect and the market's dynamics are just powerful and we continue to rally. So I'm kind of in between the caution, you know, that those people are starting to flip, but also still, you know, not really looking to jump in front of this train with a short either because of Tom Lee's thesis and you know, potential rally into the end of the year, and then we have an election year in 2024. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really doing anything right now. Let me maybe take a look at some stuff, come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Thank you for that. I mean, you got to remember today's Friday. It's the Friday before Labor Day.
I'd rather just wait till next week to get into something.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Is I think that, you know, waiting until Tuesday, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the Trading Rebellion show with Nick, but I think waiting until tomorrow or until Tuesday, excuse me, is the right way to play this. You know, right now volume is very low. That being said, if there are stocks that you think are going to outperform things like Roblox, I think today could be a good day to buy them. If you think that traders are going to come back from their summer vacations, sit down at their desks and get trading, then, you know, we could see the NASDAQ break into new highs, ES break into new highs, and that's risk on price action that is always good for Bitcoin. So that is definitely a scenario. And if we see that, I mean, the crypto related equities, what a week those have had. I mean, MAR was up 30% at one point, only to like basically completely round trip that. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Like moving 30% one day, not a lot of people are going to catch that move. But I think next week, perhaps, we see a slower grind up. If the NASDAQ breaks into new all-time highs, that's risk on price action for Bitcoin. And I think we see the crypto-related equities do a more sustained positive price action formation rather than just one massive day of, you know, of price action. That's not like sustainable. And I think we saw that this week. So that's kind of my approach for next week. I'm just really right now being patient. I mean, the dollar is looking like it's ripping to the upside. So, but again, we did say that those can move in tandem sometimes, the dollar and the NASDAQ. But I think in today's case, I think you're seeing people just kind of move into risk off, move back into cash um, before Labor Day weekend. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, honestly, dollar looks kind of bid. I was thinking about getting in that, but I just kind of been lazy, I guess. When you have a good week or just a decent week, sometimes it's better to just do nothing and not screw it up. I've done that many times.
Oh yeah,
So just kind of, but yeah, I mean, gold's kind of retracing, not a whole lot there. Yeah, dollar looks like it continue to make new highs. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week. Are there any catalysts coming up that you're kind of looking out for here? I'm going to go through the FX calendar very quickly.
really, a lot of them were this week, right? We had PCE, we had inflation data.
Aside from some unemployment claims next week, there shouldn't be much PMI, but like nothing that significant. And I think that's good. I think these macro events like CPI and FOMC are getting less significant in terms of like market impact, which is the way it should be. I don't think every market participant should like be on the edge of their chair watching Jerome Powell to dictate where the market's going to go. It kind of made sense when we were in extreme circumstances with COVID and seeing shocks to the system. But now I think we've reached a relative normalcy. So
yeah, it does seem that way. It's like, we're not waiting on Powell's every word. That being said, there was some pretty significant foul around Jackson Hole, but the week following, I mean, this week it's been a pretty good week. So, um,
not a
yeah,
lot of honestly, like not a lot of great like COT just didn't really work that well this week. That's kind of going to happen from time to time, with the exception of gold. But like cocoa's at an all-time high. Um, heating oil and energies are really bullish. So I think this week for me was more about avoiding like semi trucks and steamrollers and just not getting run over. Sometimes that's what every week can kind of turn into being about. But yeah, not a super aggressive week.
yeah, yeah. And last chart I'll pull up is the 10-year, because I do think that is looking like it might be a decent bid here. Came back and retested that support level we'd mentioned previously in the week. That was also resistance in the
So
past.
you get a short ZN on this one?
Uh, no. If anything, I would long TNX. I don't feel. I'm not actually even really feeling that confident in um the
It just
fact.
had a contract switch. So like yesterday's price
Yeah,
might be a little distorted.
yeah, um,
It says it's up 40 basis points. I think it's flat on the day though.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Um. Anyway, that would be one way to play this, and it does look like with this hammer candle at the top of what has been a relatively positive trend, that we get this move back down. Um, Lackluster bullish volume on the way up. We got this like divergence in terms of continued positive price action with declining positive bullish volume. That is a sign that perhaps you should be shorting ZN. Um, and these are the December 2023 contracts. So that's one also that I'm looking at. But I haven't taken any action yet. I want to wait till next week to make more decisive trades, because I think that post Labor Day we'll really start to see more volume across the board and thus more clarity. Right now, the market is just kind of in vacation mode, it seems, and like not really giving us much. Like you said, the COT data, from time to time won't be accurate. I think a large reason why it wasn't as spot on as it usually is because of the fact is like there's just such low volume this week, and it didn't take much to move price in either direction. So next week I think will be very different.
Yeah, I always like to just stress the point that it's not, I don't think there's any significant difference about looking at like a COT trade and flipping a coin. It's probably the same in terms of like if you were to do it 100 or 1,000 times in its predictive value, but the risk to reward over time, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah.
But in terms of like short term, yeah, who kind of knows? I hope we keep going up. I have long term, holds that I hope do well, but I'll continue to trade around that in the interim. But
yeah, Bitcoin's
I'm concerned that there's just not a whole lot of equity buyers up here. Everybody already seems pretty bullish too. We're about a month or two past, or I think just a month past the Barron's article. Remember that the new bull market is here.
Yes,
So,
of course. How could I forget?
All of those things are kind of, I don't know, just making me a little bit. That's what I think about at night if I have to be long. You know what I mean? So
that's what's keeping you up at night. Yeah, I mean, this isn't like the best looking chart. Like, yeah, it was a good week, but closing it like this with a bearish engulfing candle at the top of an uptrend, lower high, like that is a little concerning. Like you said, it almost feels like we're running out of bidders, or people that are willing to bid it up at this level. So, and that makes sense if you look at a lot of the big names. I mean, they're all in a very similar boat. It's like they're close to their all-time highs. I don't necessarily want to be bidding this when it's near its all-time high. Like
that looks like the Livermore, like
exactly the
like
11 point.
If I was going to think about how we were talking about the COT data and how it was pointing towards like short setups at the start of last week when we were already kind of at the lows. There it is, beautiful. Like nothing's really changed in terms of a positioning perspective. And we started the week at 11. Now we're basically at 12. Apple's a good example of that. I think Nasdaq's even a better example of it. So if this becomes the lower high, then yeah, that's I don't want to, but the system that I follow to trade to kind of produce income will say to be short. So if we close red today in the Nasdaq after gapping up to start the day, then sometimes it's the most difficult trades to put on that end up being the best ones. But maybe 50 basis point, maybe like half size to start. I don't know. We'll see though. A lot of game left here in the first half of Friday's session.
Very true.
I had a wealth manager who used to be my baseball coach, and he had a position going against him. And he's like, a lot of game left, CJ. A lot of game left.
So, oh man, that's funny. Yeah, well, we will keep you guys posted, but like we said, not a whole lot going on today, but nonetheless, we'll be hanging out in the Discord as always. And if you'd like to try out Trade the Chain, you can do so for 14 days free at www.tradethechain.com. You get access to a sentiment dashboard with, telling you what coins are what's hot, what's not. And then also you get access to the Discord where you can discuss with me, CJ, Nick, and a community of traders from all around the world that share their insights, some of which were in the chat today. Very much appreciate your participation as always. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. But CJ, I'll leave you with the final word here.
Yeah, I guess another educational. I'm going to be working on some courses for TTC over the weekend, but as another educational bonus, we've added like a trade log and for like the futures portfolio and stuff that we've been doing. So I like to like cap that at weekly P&Ls or have like weekly markouts. So first week of that is in the books. So going to continue to do that. And then obviously weekly reports this weekend. So tons of good content in addition to this show. So definitely love to see you guys over at tradethechain.com and hanging in our Discord. A lot of value to be added. And I'm sure you guys can add a lot as well. So we really appreciate all the participation, and happy Friday once again. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Till next time.